Walker, Texas Dangler subscribed at Tier 1. They've subscribed for 29 months and says THECHE 31 to Pimapella.
End of line.
So, you know my wireless microphone that I bought the definitely good idea USB battery eliminator
Imcat subscribed at Tier 1. They've subscribed for 38 months. And says I found some bugs in your system, let me eat them hypocrite.
End of line.
Yeah, it's continuing to be extremely reliable and very, very easy to use. So, yeah. Walker, Texas Dangler, thank you for the Tier 1 sub and for
Valcumet says on the one hand, woohoo, second basic card diagnostics hype. On the other hand, if this goes horribly wrong, I can never show my face in this town again. So CHER 100.
End of line.
Blackake subscribed at Tier 1. They've subscribed for 39 months.
End of line.
I'm a cat. Thank you for the Tier 1 sub and for 38 months there. I appreciate that. Ben, thank you for the 100 bits. And Blake GJ, thank you for the 39 months of Tier 1 sub there. Yeah, so... Yeah, I'm resoldering a new USB cable into the battery part because it died. It was having issues last stream, and I managed to just wiggle it into the correct position, and this morning I couldn't. So I'm having to replace the cable. So I just need a moment to do this. It's almost done. I'm just trying to...
RHK77SIZCHER 100 just pushing the high pimp SRC equals https://stntjtvn.wnet/v2/EMOTICONS/v2/DARK/1
End of line.
RHK, thank you for the 100 bits. No, and it's not fixed yet. Nope, I have not had time. Okay. The good news is, but we'll see more of that in a moment. That's not a spare or anything, just to be clear here, okay? We're still as much up the creek without a paddle as we were when we started. Soldering.
AJSLIM79S. Subscribed with Prime. They've subscribed for 29 months. And says got lucky there was no smoke like last stream.
End of line.
Spaukin says CHEER 100 choo choo.
End of line.
One moment. Alright, one soldered. Okay, that's two of them soldered. I'm just going to push the cable in a little bit and then fill it with as much hot glue as I can, which is not a lot.
Prime. Subscribed for 25 months.
End of line.
And okay, AJ Slim, thank you for the Prime sub and for 29 months. I had to really think about that one. I appreciate that. Spooky, thank you for the 100
will
bits.
subscribe with Prime. They've subscribed for 4 months. And says let's keep that train going on our way through Tangent City. Choo chow.
End of line.
Spooky, thank you for the 100 bits. Industrious, and thank you for the 25 months of Prime sub there. And Holla, thank you for the Prime sub and for 4 months. I'm just trying to get the hot glue to set enough that it won't, like, run all over. You know what? Maybe it's fine. Okay. Now I stick this thing in there. Okay. Moment of truth. Will it power the microphone transmitter? Yes, it does. Okay, awesome.
RHK77SIZCHEER 100 level 3 coming.
End of line.
Sleepy Developer says CHEER 100. Welcome to the Data General Show now with 100% less magic smoke.
End of line.
Come on. Thread in. There. Okay. Bye-bye to that. And hello to the good mic. Okay. RHK, thank you for the 100 bits. And Sleepy Developer, thank you for the 100 bits. All right, there we go. Now we can actually start properly. Okay.
Says CHEER 100 testing 1 2.
End of line.
10 minutes for audio, and I started even before. Good news is I already saved some time before the stream on something you're going to have to see anyway, so we have already had some time save. So, okay, let's just get right quick into this because I don't want to waste time because it is a short stream today. Spooky, thank you for the 100 bits there. Okay. Boom. And boom. Alrighty. So, the audio is better now? Yes, we're back onto the correct microphone now. Okay, ears bleed. Oh, maybe you turned it up before. Okay.
UNI 1000. Is it
Holy moly.
Now? Is it working? Is it working yet? Or is it?
End of line.
I'm a cat. Thank you for the 1,000 bits. Holy moly, thank you so much. All right, so
So I have one of these 603s off, and I think I have now somewhat perfected my method for removing these. So we're going to go over this. I'm thinking I might actually record it and make a second channel video about it, just about the process of removing persnickety chips. So half the work done, yes. But more than half of the work because I learned how to do it. So anyway, I can watch this stream on Twitch without annoying ads. I'm subscribed on Twitch, currently watching via YouTube. If you're subscribed on Twitch, you shouldn't get ads. So I don't know why you would be. I think they did actually sub, because they subbed when we were trying to test API stuff. So you might... I don't know. You shouldn't get ads, so. I would try refreshing the... Do you have ad block installed? Because I think I've heard if you have ad block installed, it can throw off the way that it does that. So I'm not sure. But that might be an option. Okay. Well, no. Yeah, I think they're trying to say, they were asking specifically if there was a way of watching on Twitch would block ads. Watch a stream on Twitch without the ads. So yes, if you have an ad blocker installed, try disabling it on Twitch or something like that. View block, and it does not mess with Twitch ads if you're... I don't know what to tell you. That's just one of those, like, things that I've heard. I don't run an ad blocker at all, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why... I don't know why I would be doing that. My apologies. All right, I'm going to continue here. Okay, so let me go over this really quick for everyone live. Like I said, I'm thinking I'm going to try and record a second channel video about it, but it's just going to be kind of along for the journey method here. So first off, I guess I should catch you all up on what exactly we have going on here. This is the second serial card for the Micro Nova. We determined that this chip that I have now pulled out is probably dead. We probed the signals coming out of it, and they were all being held high when they shouldn't be. So it's not seeming great for it, but what we're going to try and do is swap this chip and that chip, because they're identical and they're just logic chips. They don't have any programming or anything. Because this one is used for receive and this one is used for transmit, and it's possible that it is a one-way logic failure on these, so maybe swapping them will work. We don't know, but yeah, it's not looking great for this chip in this card in particular, because this is a super complicated part that we're not going to be able to easily replace. So. All right. Let's see. Whoops, there goes the smoke alarm. Remember, turn on. Yeah. Maybe check if signals are all high without the chip. So it's a serial input going to this. So the best we could do is try and measure the serial output from this thing, which is a pain in the butt. Try probing the side. I didn't do any additional probing. So, yeah. Yeah, let me think about this. So this is the transmit, so it would receive. This takes parallel, converts it to serial. So yeah, this outputs. Yeah, because receive works, yeah. So yeah, we're just gonna try swapping these and hope for the best. I did a thing I don't normally like to do. I marked these, so I put 2 dots on this chip here. It's totally blown out, so you can't see that. And 2 dots there, and then 1 dot there, and 1 dot there. This one's also slightly chipped on the front. That's right, the chip is chipped. So it's easier to identify. But I did it, you know, just discreetly anyway. Oh, yeah, I didn't actually comment this. I have had for a while. Well, we need to do this properly. Yeah, kind of that. So I have 40 pin dip sockets. I have more than that. Here we go. I think this is 4 more. Yeah, 4 more of them here. So we're going to be able to properly socket these. Ow. Those are some ancient broken rails. They're just leaving shards and extra sockets in the bottom of the bag there. So, thought you were about to pull out a tube of 603s. Yeah, no, I'm not going to get that lucky. That is absolutely not going to happen. You can buy 3DFX VSA 100s on eBay, but I'm never going to find a 603 just like that. So, yeah. Where did I find a donor chip? No, that's not what it is. I'm just going to swap the 2 chips because they're the same. This chip was pulled from that spot this morning. So actually, I'm going to start recording here so that I can cover how exactly I did this and go over the process here. So, all right. Today I'm doing a little bit of rework on the second serial card for the Data General Micro Nova here. This chip is probably bad, but I don't know if it's fully bad, and I want to try and swap it into place of this chip, so literally just swap that this one was right there. But I wanted to do a simple video here describing the process for removing the chip because these Data General circuit boards from the 70s are horrible, and it is super easy to damage the traces on the board because they aren't well glued to the fiberglass. So I'm going to go over the process of how I am removing this chip, specifically using Chip Quik here, in a way that makes it safer to remove, and it should make it so that I hopefully don't damage anything. It's still totally possible that I will, but this should help make that at least a little bit safer. So let's go over this all now. All right. Hi, YouTube. Yeah, there's no chat being recorded. Logic kind of chip slot. No, yeah. So basically, the 2 chips are identical. It has a function that is a parallel to serial converter, but each chip is only used unidirectionally. So if we swap the 2, perhaps one is bad in a read and the other isn't. So we'll be able to just swap them and have it work. It's a real Hail Mary type thing here. So yeah, it's probably not going to work, but I don't have anything else I can do with this. I would have started recapping the second Dasher today, but I left the caps at home because I'm an idiot.
Subscribed with Prime. They've subscribed for 6 months, currently on a 6-month streak.
End of line.
Lucky Bob 77, thank you for the Prime sub and for 6 months there. I appreciate that. All right. Cheap alarm clock quality circuit boards. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, they're not one-sided, but they really want to be with how much the traces lift up. All right. Now, this is going to be kind of a 2 or 3-step process, depending on how you look at this. So we have all of the solder that is on the chip right now. Oh, yeah, I forgot this is an awful, awful process. Ugh. This Data General circuit board is like the worst possible case for this. The legs on these chips were folded over before they were soldered down. So we have weak solder, or no, we have weak pads with legs that we have to bend while heating the pad so that we can desolder the solder out of the via. Yeah, this part sucks. So yeah, basically what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be heating up each one of these pads and then getting...
community, they've gifted a total of 1 in the channel.
End of line.
THEWATCHER 2K3 gifted a tier 1 sub to First Numbers.
End of line.
Watcher, thank you for the gift sub. I appreciate that. Why is this not melting solder? Does the solder just suck? There we go. So basically what I have to do here, you can see this leg is bent over. I have to melt the solder and then bend the leg upright so that I can get the desoldering iron around it later to pull the solder out. And I have to do that for all 40 pins. Okay. The new system doesn't handle it at all because the stupid Twitch API is garbage. Must be fine, it's got a QC stamp on it. Could have been lead-free solder, not in 1975. So the other reason I might have done that is you only have set of busy flags. It makes sense to have separate ones. Oh, I don't know. Okay, yeah, this is going to be super annoying. All right. I have to be so careful with this so that I don't damage the pads. On this one, I managed to only rip up one pad. This one's now weak. Neither one of those have traces connecting on this side, so that wasn't the worst thing. But I am going to have to go back and clean up all the Chip Quik, which is a different kind of problem. I'm going to point this directly over because I need to be able to get my hands around all sides. That's a much better angle for you guys anyway. There we go. Oh, you know what kind of sucks? Having a light right in my eyes. Oh well. I am going to have to ignore chat a little bit here because this is a very focus-intensive project. And I got a lot of soldering I have to do today if we're going to actually get this done in time to test. So my apologies in advance and kind of already because I know I'm not seeing everything. Normally I would prefer to put more solder on right here, but I'm already going to be putting on other solder in a moment, so I'm trying to avoid wasting more of my lead-free stuff if I don't have to. Yeah, no, this is totally blobbed up. I haven't cleaned it at all. So, need to Zen Garden, we can do this, yeah. Lines are held high. I think operating system returns error. So Philip's not actually sending an error in the last test we were doing. So for the last test, we jumpered this card to use the address of the lower, or the primary serial card. And what ended up happening is it would attempt to print the console debug output to it. And it would just print an ASCII block, which is all ones for the output. So it was definitely not working. Tip's not bad, is it? Oh, this just has crusty old flux on it. Boom, yeah, break through that. Flux, the thing that both assists and prevents solder from melting. Oh, why is this one fighting me? Because I'm hooked onto the pin next to it.
BCF84 subscribed at Tier 1. They've subscribed for 36 months, currently on a 36-month streak, and says longer than an average relationship.
End of line.
And for IPA and a toothbrush, oh no, it's just old and hardened. I just need to scrape it off. But BCF84, thank you for the Tier 1 sub and for 36 months. I appreciate that. All right, let's continue. Smart if I was wearing my ESD strap. Oh, I felt like I had another connector challenge to give everyone today. I don't remember what it was, though. Almost there. This flux smells so weird. There we go. Okay, so that's all the pins bent correctly. So now I need to get the desoldering iron warmed up, and then I can remove as much of the original solder as I can. And apparently I'm using a wireless ESD strap. Well, I'll leave that disconnected while that fires up. Let's check something. I haven't actually looked at this yet. Boom! It's a Dasher keyboard connector. Does it plug in to the backplane? Let's find out. Drum roll, please. Click. Perfect. Goes right in. Better than the other ones. Okay, well that lives there now. Why am I getting a sound? I am not answering a phone call. Oh my gosh, I think I know what that phone call is, and it will not stop. I'm gonna have to block that number. No X-Acto knife needed? Nope. It's perfect. Almost too perfect, because now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna unlatch it. Well, that sounds like a problem for future Shelby. Is that the Mauser cart? Yes, it was. It was. So that was what I ended up using. Or yes, I still have it. It's now on a phone line that I'm paying for that I'm not using, annoyingly, because dual SIM on this phone turns out to be a total nightmare if you're using the same service. Like, it's practically impossible. All right. Oh, good thing I ordered 2 or 3 of those. For kicks, I ordered the cable version of the opposite gender connector so that I could make a dasher to USB adapter if I ever lost my mind. And I had to order the male pins for this, but Mouser's cart system is kind of awful, and I didn't notice something stupid, and I can't believe they even let this order go through. I ordered 1 pin. Who orders 1 pin? You shouldn't be able to even get 1 pin. Like, it should be minimum order quantity of 10. So yeah, it changed my input number of 20 at somewhere along the way. And it's just 1. I have to place another order for some other stuff, so I'm going to slip the rest of the pins in there, but it's just, come on. I emailed them. Okay, here's the worst part, okay? So, in theory, you can email Mouser to update an order. Like, this is literally an option that they let you do on their support site. Update an order, okay? I emailed them, like, 2 minutes after I saw that. Well, after Ben saw it. And then they waited, I think, 3 days to actually ship it. It might have, maybe it was just overnight, but it was like a noticeably long period of time. I think it was at least 1 day. And they didn't update the order. They just sent it. They absolutely 100% had time to do it, but they did not. Anyway, this will be heated up now. All right, now that we have the pins bent in a way where I can actually use this, I'm going to pull out as much of the original leaded solder as possible, and then we're going to use the Chip Quik, and I'll show you how that works. But first, I need to remove as much of this solder as I can. And this actually is a little tricky because I want to get the tip as close to the angular ring as possible, but I don't want it to actually touch, because then it puts bad forces on it and can break it. So I'm going to be extremely careful here. That's not working out. I'm going to have to touch. Ugh. Well, those need a little bit more solder now. DigiKey, a better service? They are basically interchangeable. I have no allegiance to either one. Oh, this rosin smells so weird. My goal here is not to remove all of the solder, just as much as I can, because through experience, I know I'm not going to be able to remove all of it. I've given up on that dream. Give you a different angle here. Rip back. Okay. That is as much solder removed from that as I'm going to be able to. All right, like Mauser Better, DigiKey always asks the reason why I buy stuff US export. Oh, well, that kind of makes sense. Now, if I try to remove this part, it's not going to come out. There's still just a tiny amount of solder on the top side of this that's going to be holding this in, and it's just not going to work.
Laumo says CHER 100 shall be the man who ordered one pin. Maybe you can order another one with the 100 bits.
End of line.
Thank you for the 100 bits. Yeah, I can order more pins, and I have to place another Mauser order. For one, I need that connector that you actually use to make a cable that plugs into the dasher to, you know, give it serial. So I have to order that, and I figure I'm going to piggyback it off that. There are other things that I want to order as well, though. So it's all going to get included into that. At least you can work out which pins need to desolder. No, I'm not. I have to show they did their due diligence. I don't know. Anyway, Lawmo, thank you for the 100 bits. Caught up, had to watch YouTube at greater than 1x speed. You can do that on Twitch, too. If you go to the channel and then edit the address bar to have /videos after it, you can then go to the current stream as a video and watch it at a greater than 1x speed. It's not as good because the runtime only at what you caught, so you might have to refresh it a couple of times to catch up, like this exponentially small little bit. But yeah. Okay. Thoughts on Twitch are awful? Yeah. Okay. So here is where the trick comes into play. So this is Chip Quik, which I think is a bismuth solder. I am actually not sure if it is a good idea to touch this with your bare hands, so I'm going to wear a glove for this. I think it's maybe not a great idea to touch it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some flux to the top side of this chip and then melt the solder through the leg. So we're going to refill this with the Chip Quik. But Chip Quik is a super low temp melting solder. I don't know if it actually says on this what the temperature is, but it's ridiculously low temperature. I'm gonna fill this with solder, this low temp solder, and then I'm gonna use a heat gun to melt all of the solder at once and then just pry the chip off directly. Pepto-Bismol is edible? I don't know. All right, so let me flux this. And let's give it a go. I need that light actually on the top. Dude, I love this light setup I have over here.
A swarm of dead insects says to the tune of AC/DC-bait gun, heat gun CHER 100.
End of line.
Thank you for the 100-bit swarm. That business much safer than lead. I don't know, but I'm not gonna chance it here because it's a kind of weird thing. Now, the reason I'm doing this from the top is so that I know in order for it to reach the bottom, it has to flow through, which will increase the thermal mass and the thermal conductivity, because if I only do it on the bottom and it doesn't flow through to the top, then it will not conduct the heat up to the top of the pin, and it won't succeed in fully desoldering it. And then when I try and apply a little bit of pressure to pop it off, it won't succeed in doing that. So I'm going to look at the bottom side after this and make sure that every pin has solder on the bottom, and the ones that don't, I'm going to apply more solder to the top. So I can see here, solder has flowed through the bottom on every single one of those pins, so those are now filled with the low temp solder, which is perfect. You're skeptical of this technique? Oh, I'm gonna blow your mind then. Be prepared for this thing to just hop off the board. All right, do the other side. This part's going to be a little tricky right next to this resistor. Low temp to the rescue, it just melts on the bottom of the pin when I'm touching the top. Matter of fact, yeah, I can demonstrate that here. This is worth a close-up. For these last four, I'm going to touch the top of the pin with the soldering iron and then just push the solder into the leg itself. That is some low temp solder. Looks more tedious than our surgery. All right, so I have a little bit extra here. Let me flip this over, make sure those all filled in. A couple of those ones near the resistor I don't think did. I'm gonna do what I said I wouldn't do, and I'm gonna fill those in from the bottom because that resistor area was kind of a pain in the butt. Okay. Now, I need to get this into my PCB stand. Heat gun it and the chip just drops? Basically. We might even try that, actually. You know what? I wasn't going to try just having the chip fall out, but let's see if we can. Because we might be able to. The first one I pulled out with tweezers, but I think it might just fall out. Oh, that's the wrong side. All right. Now safe on the glove. hang a chip puller from it for extra weight. That's not gonna work. It's not high enough for that, and the chip pullers I have don't clamp on loose like that. Okay. You know what? I'll move the light again. I want it more out of the way. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to see if we can get it to just fall. I don't know if it will, but what I'm going to do is turn on the heat gun and then just hit the backside. It's going to melt the solder, because it's really low temp solder, before it torches the board or starts to melt anything else, and the chip will loosen up. If it doesn't just fall out, then I'm going to take some tweezers and I will hook it under the legs on the sides and pry on it just slightly. Basically only putting as much pressure on there as the weight of the tweezers. But let's see if it just falls. It probably won't fall because the stupid bent pins will catch. This is still getting up to temp. I can put my hand directly under it still. All right, it's coming loose. I got the front side out a little bit. Let me work on the back. There we go. Standard heat gun? Yes, that is just a straight heat gun. Now, I would definitely like to... Now, I'd really like to contrast this to the heat discoloration that happened on the CPU board for the Micronova. That is so much cleaner by contrast. So, yeah, this is a way easier time on this thing. So, yeah, I'm really happy with the results there. But, yeah, there is how you can easily remove a chip from a very difficult to work on PCB. Chip Quik and the right methodology is an amazing combination. All right, there's a little second channel video. Now to wick the solder off. Yeah, I might use the vacuum gun here because I can just tap them, pop that out. Really need to get myself a set of soldering needles. Same with Floyd on YouTube mentions, very handy, especially for stupid bent pins and stuff. Those like stainless steel tube tips or something. I now have this. This is an official, actually, I think it's a Thermaltronics tip cleaning set. This came in a metal case, but it instantly broke on me. This is for tip cleaning, the desoldering gun. So far, I'm not sold on it, but yeah. So there is the good chip. It's a little warm. I'm going to go ahead and put that off to the side. Exactly. You can wiggle pins, break surface tension stuff, as I understand it. Ah. Yeah, that surface tension stuff is evil. What formulation of Chip Quik? Searching for them on DigiKey mostly brings up their brand of tin solder. I don't know. It's just eBay. REM 4.5 NL. There you go. Already using tip cleaner ram rods, desoldering gun on occasion for cleaning stubborn holes. Ouch. Oh, for like cleaning these, what I'll end up doing is if it doesn't come clean the first time, I will put leaded solder in there and then just do another pass. Netherlands edition. Yeah, I noticed that. All right, let me get the desoldering iron heating up here. Yeah, so for the doubters on that method, what do you think? Because I think that worked insanely well. Yeah, it's super, super low temp solder. It's not like, you know, just lead, like, oh, it's a little lower in Rojas. No, this is like genuinely, like, I'm almost concerned about it melting in my hand. Might get soft. All right. I don't think there's a reason to keep using the stand. Do want this gone now. Okay. Just don't stir your coffee with it. You should be fine. Yeah. What junk uses solder like that? Nothing. This solder exists specifically for this purpose, for removing other things. Still a doubter until you get the alloy cleaned up without a rip of a trace. I mean, I don't think that's a fair benchmark because you would still have that problem with other solders. Hand solder on a plastic PCB? Yeah, thought it was mentioned earlier. Wasn't sure which one I'm using. 4.5 NL site. $35. It's not cheap, but compare that to the cost of one of these chips or damaging this extremely rare board. I may have just used about $3 worth of the stuff there. It was worth it. They have a leaded version. I did not know that. I want that one. Come on, wake up. Reasonable consumables, yes. Yeah, that is a thing when you start getting into, what's the best way to describe this? Physical engineering like this. There are definitely times where consumable items are used that just make the job so much easier. All right. I am right-handed, and that makes filming this really hard. Is it good enough for me anymore? Yeah. That was awful. Yeah, and I don't need the fume extractor when I'm sucking everything into the desoldering iron, so there's not a whole lot of reason to use that here. All right. Ooh. Okay, let me better stabilize. I mean, yeah, it's coming out super easily because it melts if, you know, you breathe on it. So, yeah, this is going to be a cakewalk. That whole row, no problems. There is a bunch of it on the top I'm going to have to clean up. So 2 passes. I don't think we got a good look at these pads when we took off the 634. Look at how terrible these are. These are seriously awful. What is wrong with Data General, man? Look at how thin those are. There is literally a quarter of an angular ring on one side, and it's not even the side that's facing out. They missed the drill center on the left side. These are towards the inside of the chip. This is awful. Solder bridge. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of them. Yeah, I'll be going back and cleaning up with flux. Yeah, don't worry about solder bridges. We're not close to done yet. Oh, you're right. The socket may not clear that resistor. We can drop it in really quick to see. I think the holes might be clear enough now just to get a feel. It has to be thin because they didn't want to spend money on solder mask. Yeah, all that solder mask that they don't have. I'm not sure I follow there. They're saying just to spite you because it's thin, they also didn't want solder mask. Okay. Oh. That's a big socket, apparently. Well, it's going to clear the resistor, but I'm obviously going to have to shave it down a little, I suppose. Huh. At least the pins fit. How'd I mess up ordering 40 pin sockets? Did you see the rails that this came out of? I didn't order these. I don't think I was alive when these were ordered. Score replacement 603s? No, we're just swapping them, hoping that one has a problem writing or reading. I don't remember what it is. We're just hoping that that the one will work in place of the other, because it seems like it's at least partially functional. Period correct drop in replacement, yeah. Yep, that'll fit very well. You can't see. There it is. So right next to the resistor. Not a problem. No, the 603s are completely 100% unobtainable. It would also be fairly difficult to try and replace because they are not just standard logic. I mean, they kind of are, but they're a bunch of logic all integrated. All right. Now let's do the other one, and then we'll do some work with a little bit of flux, cleaning up everything. probably going to lose this pad. Wow, I don't know how I didn't. That one is gone right there. That one was one of the worst ones, right? It was bent over. If we end up re-implementing the 603, we would have the ability to replicate the entire card. Because the 603 is by far the most complicated unique chip on there. So if we end up attempting to replicate the 603, I will probably just end up making a whole new serial card. Oh, the top side looks pretty good. Just gonna pull off a little bit of this. Bam! I'm real happy with that. All right. Flux for bridge fixing. Okay. That one might need to be cleaned. Cousin of Pokerator here, pretty useful for cleaning this gook off. All right. How you liking that? Looking at the bird's eye, making sure there's no shorts. Might be a little bit over here. Let me pump that. Oh, actually, that's just the light from the solder, or from the flux. There are no shorts over there. Okay. Let me flip it and do the other side. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot here to go over. Maybe a little bit right here. Don't want to rub too much on that. That's how you rip off pads. Oh, looks pretty good. I want to try and scrub clean that. I think that's a terrible idea that will destroy the annular ring. So I am not going to look into cleaning that until it has had the new sockets put in. So I think we're done. I want to end like TI-99, 12 volt data on a data pin. What? Nice clean job. At least if it doesn't work. But no, it's not because you horse-licked this bit up. Yeah. All right, I'm going to add a little extra bit here for the video part. All right, and after using the vacuum desoldering iron, I've cleaned out all of, well, I see a little bit more there. I'm going to have to hit one more time, but I've cleaned up everything from there. Maybe also a little bit there I want to pull off. But I use the desoldering iron and some flux and just empty blank clean tip. That's it, clean soldering iron tip, and removed any shorts or anything by just fluxing the solder to flow on the traces. And yeah, that's all looking pretty good. So now I'll be able to drop a socket in here and continue on with what I'm doing. So yeah, I really like the results here of this Chip Quik. It is REM 4.5-NL for what I'm using. All right, there we go. That's the real outro now. Okay. TI routed 12 power between CPU data pins, so a solder blob could kill the CPU. Ouch. Middle top row. On this, let me re-angle it so the light's different. Here. Middle top row. I'm not seeing anything. The other side. Okay. Oh, yeah, you're saying right here? Yeah, I do need to clean that one up and that still. So let's just do those really quick. The bottom side actually having solder mask makes this a little less concerning, but still not perfect. Okay, that's this one, I think. Yeah, that is. That's blocked up. That needs to be vacuum desoldered. Okay. Because this one has just a small amount in it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a lot more solder in there, but I'm using just the regular leaded solder. And then I'm going to let the desoldering iron heat up again. And the reason I put more solder in there is so that there's more mass for the desoldering iron to pull out. Because if you just have that little tiny bit and it like sticks on the side, you're going to get airflow around it. That'll make it so it pulls out a lot cleaner. Then after this, I think we're ready to trim another socket and then clean up the chips and see what happens. Getting scary. What time is it? We got 40 minutes? Yeah, we'll be fine. I'm a little concerned about soldering that one, but I think I'll be able to make it work. Is this ready yet? No. Give it a moment. I'll just let it down and everyone can screenshot it. Then you can put in Discord if you see a thing and then just circle it. Cool. The tip is filled with crud. Getting to it early and using the cleaning tips, this is actually working out quite well. All right, now that's totally solid. Okay. All right, get your screenshots to try and show anything. I'm giving you 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I'm gonna flip. Here is the other side. Actually, I'm gonna pull this up slightly, try and reduce reflections. There we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go. All right. If anybody's got any potential issues they want to highlight, so top side, right chip, second pin from bottom, top side, right chip, second pin from bottom left. Okay, so this. I mean, there might have been something there. I think I picked it out.
Twelve raiders from Machikotec have joined.
End of line.
Majenko and Raiders, hello and welcome. You missed it. We did all the fun stuff. Now you're going to have to wait for the video. Sorry. Yeah. I know, right, Sanity? Jeez. All of you watching, for shame. I'm not going to tell you what happened. All right, so I think we're good. So let's go ahead and put that off to the side for now and clean up the chips. This part gonna kind of suck. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this. That one might just be good. I might need to, no, I'm gonna need to flux and bend those. This is gonna be a nightmare. This one I need the desoldering iron. That one's really, really bad. Matter of fact, I'm gonna clamp it to hold it while I do this. Slightly cracked one, used to be U2. Yeah. Why are you giving him answers? He was the one who was streaming when we were live. All right, now since this is a ceramic chip, I want to crank this down as tight as possible, right? Sorry, I'm trying to delete it. There we go. Okay. All right, so the goal now is to clean up all of the pins. Because, I mean, they pretty obviously look terrible. Okay, it needs to be actually retained at least a little. Oh, this is going to be a pain in the butt. Okay, that's better, but not good. Let's see, pin straighteners? No. Okay, this might take longer than I anticipated. Especially now, I'm going to have to break out the actual iron here. Then swap back and forth a few times, probably. Ugh. Tin all the pins with fresh solder. Yeah, I'm going to flux it first and then probably do that. So the crusty bit gets pulled in. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. You have one of those, but not really basic cheap things. Yes, exactly. I'm able to afford all the weird high-end stuff by skipping really obvious small things that everyone else buys. Did I just push the bismuth off with the... So weird. Man, I wish I could just go back and forth with this more easily. Okay, I yield. I have to have... I'm going to have to use solder braid. Just because I don't want to have to constantly go back and forth between desoldering iron and not. Oh, It's like a little baby solder braid. There's a big one. Streaming in double time doing high-pitched voice, yeah. In fact, YouTube wasn't only go 2x, was catching up, then realized it was live. Sorry, if I could talk at 2x, I would, because that's how I watch everything, too. I get it. Okay, it needs to be slightly tighter. Why does this seem like it's not working? This is why solder braid is awful. What? The tip's on. Dude, what? This really isn't his intended use. Fresh solder first. I did put fresh solder on. Starting to think I got one of my bad tips on here. To which you reply, what do you mean one of? Why do you have any bad tips? Why have you not thrown them away? Iron doesn't need to get hotter. That's not the way this iron works. It's either at the temp or it's trash. So first you come in late, you steal my viewers, and then you insult me? This was a mob boss movie. I wouldn't be going to sleep anytime soon, Majenko.
RHK77SI's next stream, rebonding a 603 die to a new ceramic kick package CHGER 100.
End of line.
Okay, yeah, I think that other tip might be hosed. That that's working slightly better. All right, now let me use my specialty lead forming tool. Such formed much lead. Okay. Let's try and get the rest of this off of here. Poof. Okay, yeah, definitely need to let it on there first. I'm in awe of the evenness of their lead lengths. Yeah. It's yeah, it's data general quality. That's just how it is. Oh man, I just realized I totally could have been doing something productive this morning instead of just playing Switch games on my laptop while I waited for stream. Oops. I don't know why that reminded me, but there was a thing I actually wanted to do that I forgot about. Ow, hot. Okay, yeah, that's looking so much better. The other one's way cleaner already because I dropped it while it was hot. So all the solder just like fell off. Let's do this really quick. We're doing the actual test about an hour tomorrow stream. Yeah, it's looking like it. I didn't expect the cleaning to be such a pain in the butt. This is a pain in the butt. Or maybe this is not the right call. This might be time for Ghetto Vice. Chomp. Boom. Ghetto Vice is best Vice. I'm working on it.
RHK77S-I's pro tip: if you have spare 40-pin sockets, hot glue one to the ick so you don't break the actual pins when putting in and out to the sockets on THGPCBCHEER 100.
End of line.
If I break a pin off, I can fix it on this because it's pretty open. You have way better vices than that? I mean, unless you mean like, problems. Like things that you should stop doing. I think this is one of the best vices. I mean, sure, a small pair of channel locks would be exactly the same thing, but I don't see those around here, do you? No. So this is as good as it gets. Now, excuse me while I flux my stupid garbage solder wick that I bought over a decade ago and refused to replace. Yeah, that worked out way, way better that way. And now we can just flip. Oh, yeah, look at it. It's magic. Tangent depth. Percent of problems that are entirely self-inflicted. Am I on my knees? Yes. Save your back. Use your knees. All right. You better lab setup chairs? No. It's not necessary. Don't forget to wick the tin on the inside of the legs, just to the outside. Yeah, they look pretty good. I'm not going to mess with it. All right, release that. Let me get them straightened. After last week's conversation while waiting for Sysgen. Wait, was that even last week? It was probably like 3 weeks ago because I can't keep straight time. I got off the deep end stuck in my head now. Dude, we still have another one of these to do. Oh my gosh. Hand in the butt. Okay. Whew. Oh, man. Tenders change user agreement. They can break your switch if you break the user agreement. Yeah, I'd need to take all my switches out of my house and remove all of the access points. All right, let's see how this does. Okay, they need to go in Just slightly. Believe that will work. Okay. Ah. Don't use hack switches online. I mean, you need to be able to download the update files to extract them somehow. Chip looks like a dinosaur. I mean, it's only got a 1977 date code on it. All right, let's start on the other one. Okay. Use Ben's favorite solder wick. Okay. A little more right. Okay. Ah. Let's do the other side. I made it nice and toasty. Yeah, we're not going to try and fire this thing up today. We will do it tomorrow, unfortunately. I don't want to try and rush it and screw something up. There we go. I think I can trim that a little. Okay. Pick a little bit of this flux out of here. All right, lead foreman time. Such a manual process. Ow, this thing's hot. Ow. 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 This extra long ground pins might end up being a problem. For some reason they made them super long and then just folded them over. Okay. Yep, that one will fit too. Okay. Whew. Let me snip another socket, and then we can stare at those for 5 minutes while we run out the clock so we can begin tomorrow. Because we are out of time today. All right, there are our 2 sockets ready for install tomorrow. Ah. I'm curious how this is going to go. So our next step here is going to be popping these here and here. Oh, come on.
Dr. Stoffel subscribed at Tier 1. They've subscribed for 18 months.
End of line.
There we go. Oh, it's beautiful. So good. Dr. Stoffel, thank you for the tier 1 sub and for 18 months there. Never should be able to get a knee pad? Nah, it's fine. I have carpet, which is also why I have to wear this. Have we kept track of which chip was where? Yes, so I put 2 dots here and 1 dot there, and then 2 dots on this chip and 1 dot on this chip, because this one came from there and this one came from there. No, because they were like that initially. Even more so, this one's all gnarled up on the front edge. This one's not, so I could visually compare where they were to the photos. So yeah. So the cracked ones, U2, yeah. So wireless, yeah, it just came unplugged. Trace below the U2 text might have a solder bridge. I don't think so. It's just the reflective flux. There's a real close-up. Yeah, the flux reflections are making it trippy. So I appreciate you calling it out, but I think I'm good. Doesn't hurt to just once over it a little closer here, though. Yep, think everything's good. So flux cleaning first. I'm not super keen on that because I don't want to rip up pads. Okay, so 5th pad down on the right. Wait, is that a no connect? Oh, well, I don't even have to worry about that one that's got the thing missing. Hold on. Splodges or broken tracks? I don't know what you mean. It might just be crud or dirt or something. Yeah, that's a no connect. Okay, so the one lifted pad is a no connect. So that's a cakewalk. Oh, that's one of the low order byte pins. Yeah. So yeah, that's super not needed. Yeah. All right. This is going to work out well. All right. The track. Okay, hold on. Going directly below U2. It's just dirty because I fluxed and reflowed next to it, but I didn't do it
subscribed
to
at
it.
tier 1. They've subscribed for 28 months, currently on a 28-month streak, and says to close backup.
End of line.
There you go. Slightly cleaner. Definitely connected. Filth. Yeah, well, don't blame me. It's like a break. No, again, it's just dirty. There was dirt underneath of the chips that then got flux soaked into it. So there's a bunch of crud along there. Yeah. Schmide, thank you for the tier 1 sub there and for 28 months. I appreciate that. Organic solder mask, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a horrifying thought. What we can do, you know what? I can grab maybe a toothbrush. What? Solder bridge, pin 10 on right chip to the trace. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh man, that barely slightly is. I think you're correct. Jeez, that was a tiny one. Okay, maybe we will clean it Yeah, with isopropanol, and then look for horrible little things like that. I wonder if this is leaving shrapnel like that all around. That's the second time I've found a tiny little one like that. All right, yeah, we'll toothbrush and check that. Maybe that was the original fault. No. It better not be. I mean, you know what? Fine. If it is, I'm okay with that because we'll swap the chips and it'll work. Who cares? Ultrasonic bath. There are crystals and there are capacitors all along that I don't really trust to be in the bath.
28 Raiders from the Tech News Show have joined.
Close.
End of line.
Daily Tech Show and Raiders, hello and welcome. We are about to wrap up ourselves here, actually. But we just finished removing 2 extremely rare chips from this board in a very delicate way so that we can try and switch them to hopefully correct an issue that has been going on with it. So gonna see how that goes tomorrow because we are out of time today to work on this. Time for me to wrap up the stream here. Let me do a couple of things over here. Ultrasonic only half the board. I'll just toothbrush and isopropanol. I think that'll work out well. Dude, no machine just straight up will not let me click in it. It's very annoying. But all right, it is time for the outro here. So make sure to mark which one you think is which. I already have, don't worry. But all right, that is gonna be it for today. So that was highly successful on the soldering there. I'm really, we went slower than I thought, but only one pad was actually lifted. I'd say that's pretty darn good. So yeah, going slow worked out. So nice ad during the outro. Well, then it doesn't matter. But all right. Thank you all for being here. If you enjoyed this stream, you may want to follow to be notified when I go live again next. If you want to help support the channel, you can find me on Patreon or get a shirt like this one. I think I need to reorder all of my shirts because there's some significant amounts missing from these now. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, but I'll see you next time. I forgot the outro now, but yeah, all right, bye.